This prophet pastor, and I greet you all in the name of Jesus. Today I'm coming to another message to share, and today this message is very important because it's going to make you look at the church very differently. It's going to make you have another view. It's going to give you another set of eyes around what is happening in the church. And I'm going to share why you see now some of the churches are closing their buildings. You saw Prophet Shepherd Bushiri close his church building down. You saw ZCC, they closed their church building down. You saw some of the other churches, they announced that they're going to close their buildings down. What is happening? The question is, can the church exist without buildings? Can Christianity survive without buildings? Can the church survive without buildings? The Bible says something. It says we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, and that the Spirit of God dwells in us. Now, what is happening now? What is happening is that buildings have become more prominent. Buildings have come to replace our bodies as the temple of the Holy Ghost. The church building has become more important than our bodies. And God is taking us back. I'm going to show you what God is doing. God is taking us back to His Word to show us. And most people are asking now. I think most people are asking: is Christianity a religion that is communal? Are we a group of people? Is it a religion that is a communal religion? Meaning that must we always congregate? Must we come to a building? Or is it a religion that is private? Now, Christianity is not a religion, but that's what the world is asking. The world is trying to look for the answer. People in the world are trying to look for the answer that if you close down buildings, will Christianity survive? I'm going to share that, which is very powerful. It's a revelation about these buildings. And I want to say something. I want to thank some of my sons and daughters that have gotten these anointed beads. My personal anointed beads. Get your anointed beads. Make sure you get your anointed beads. And I told you these anointed beads I ship all over the world. I ship them all over the world. They're going to Asia. They're going to Australia. Some go to the US. They go to the UK. They're all over the world. To Africa, most African countries, Nigeria, all those African countries are going there. They're going to Botswana, Zambia, Malawi, all those countries are there. Zimbabwe, they're here in South Africa. You can order your anointed, personal anointed beads. Are very powerful anointed beads. I've anointed them. I've touched them with my hands. When I send them to you, your life will not be the same again. I just want to speak to some of my sons and daughters. Some of them are getting anointed beads. I see one of my sons. I see Nena, one of my sons, Nena. I see Felician. I greet you, my son Felician. Felician is based in Malawi. I see Kenute. I see my son Kenute. I see Maria. I greet you, Maria. I see my daughter Karabo. I see Akinola, my son Akinola is based in Nigeria. I see Freda, based in the US. I see Toby is based in South Africa. One of my sons in South Africa. I see Sheena, one of my sons based in Canada. I see Emmanuel, my sons, Joanne. I see Millie. Make sure I see Dongapa is based in South Sudan. I greet you, Ketleko. Tony, I see most of them. They're based all over the world. They are sons. Those of you that want to become my son or a daughter, write to me at prophetpastor@gmail.com. Write to me at prophetpastor@gmail.com. Those of you that want these beats, for those that sow their 2020 seed, the moment you sow your 2020 seed in this ministry, the moment you sow your 2020 seed, I will send you this gift. So this beat is my personal beats. I will personally remove it. I will remove it from my hand, put it inside the parcel, courier it to you, and we'll courier it all over the world free of charge. We'll courier it through JHL all over the world. I'll put it there, send it to you. It's contained anointing. The Bible says handkerchief and aprons were taken from the body of Paul. When we were placed on the sick people became healed. This is like the handkerchief and aprons. I see Catherine, I see you, my daughter. I see Gladys, I see you. Teresa, I see you, and my daughter Godfrey, I see you. Irene, I see you. I see you, Mina. I see you, Toko. One of my daughters, I see you, Toko. Yes. I see Minky. I see you, Patricia. In the UK, I see you, Patricia. Your beads are coming. I'll give you anointed beads. These bracelets. The bracelets, they are powerful. They are anointed. These were made from special stones. Let me tell you where these bracelets are coming from. These are special stones from the mountain where I pray. The mountain that I pray, they took out the stones from the mountain, they make the stones like this. The Bible says God told Moses, he said, Moses, take your shoes out of your feet, for the place that you are standing is holy ground. So the mountain that I pray, the stones that I pray on, these are the stones. The stones from the mountain that I pray, from the prayer mountain. Those stones are holy stones. They are holy stones. I'm telling you, the moment you get it, your life will not be the same again. Your life will not be the same again. I want to talk about these things. Your life will not be the same. I see them. Jojo, one of my daughters, Jojo in the US. I see Jumo, Monet, Jumo, and I see the mother Aisha. I greet you. I greet you. I see them. Those are my sons that are sowing, my daughters, and all of them. I mean, they have been. God is doing great in their life. Open doors for them. Their family is being blessed. Let me tell you, I received testimonies. There was a lady that wrote to me and she was telling me, man of God, I'm in the hospital. I'm sick. I feel like I'm dying. I told them, get the anointed beads. When she got the anointed beads, healing started. Healing started in her life. One man wrote to me and says, I'm looking for my green card. I've not gotten my green card. I'm waiting for it for about 7 years. It's every day is promise. I've been promising me this green card. I don't get it. And I've been suffering in America. There are many people in America that are struggling. They're in America. The parents think they're enjoying America. They're in the United States of America, but they're struggling in America. They are living in hidings. I wrote to him, I said, my son, take this thing. Go back to that place where you apply for the green card. Tell them you need to get your green card. He wore this thing, went there, and he told them, I'm going to apply. I'm going to ask, send the lawyers. The lawyers went there. Within about 2 weeks, his green card was given. People are writing about permits. There's some people that are stuck in Australia now. Stuck in Australia. I didn't know there were some people in Australia that have been like, I don't know if it's detained or that have been held in an island in Australia. They don't have permits. And they write to me and they say, man of God, I don't have many permits. I want these beats. I'm going to send them the beats. The moment I send them these beats, let me tell you, they're going to release them from that detention. Some have been detained for 5 years in an island. So people are detained in Europe, in Italy. Some people are living in hiding. They've got nothing in Italy. Some people, they say, some of my sons want to run away. They're in the US. But the moment I give them this beat, one boy went to the court. The moment I gave him this beat, I said, where is this beat? He went to the court. He was accused. Falsely accused. He went to the court. The judge sat on the case. They was about to sentence him to 2 years in prison. When the time came for his own, they checked his file. They said they cannot match his crime and his identity. They couldn't match it. There's confusion inside the court. I tell you, this thing with confusion. It's powerful. Anointed beats all over the world. So this time about Bushiri closing his church and all this stuff, I want to tell you something. And it's just closing the church. Why is it happening? I'm telling you, we are seeing church closing. Why is it happening? God is showing us something. There's a message that God is showing us. God is giving us a message. I told you the church building has become prominent. It is like if you look at the church of today, and if you look at what is happening around the world today, you think that Christianity only happens in the church. You think that the only place where Christianity happens is inside the church, inside a building. And that's why when Jesus came, he gave a new mandate. He said, now the church is no longer a building. The church is my body. And we've forgotten that. Some of us we have derailed. We've derailed, meaning that we have gone out of that direction, and we are now looking at focusing on building. One man wrote to me, he says, man of God, I want to open a church. And I say, yes, go and preach, go and open the church. Go and do it, go ahead. He says, no, man of God, what I'm saying is that I'm looking for a venue. I asked him, what venue are you talking about? He says, I'm looking for a venue because I need to get a venue to put the people inside the church, to put inside the building. It seems that people have now equated a church to become a building. And this is not the first time we are seeing God is intervening to show the world, to correct that mistake, to correct it. Is Christianity a religion that can only be practiced inside a building? Can Christianity only exist in a building, or is it a private relationship? The Bible makes it very clear. It is private. Christianity is a one-on-one relationship. It's you and God. It's not you in a building and God. The building is just one of almost 600 different things that we must do as Christians. Going to a building is just one aspect of more than 613 different things that that God wants us to do. Going to the building is not compulsory. It's not compulsory. Meaning that when you go to the building, it's not about that building. It's not about brick and mortar. It's not about how beautiful. Now you can see, if you hear the word church now, what comes to the mind of most people is a big building. It's a big, and you see men of God were going around talking about their number of people in the building as if it was a measure of their strength. It almost became like an attendance in a soccer match. It was a show of strength. The number of people in a building doesn't define a Christian, doesn't define a ministry, doesn't define a church. The number of people in a building it has got nothing. It's got no spiritual value. What has got spiritual value is the spirits of the people that are in that building. If those spirits are spirit of God. That's why I see most churches are closing down. They are learning a new thing now. God is closing down. Let me tell you something. This is very important, because nothing in the world happens by accident. Nothing in this world happens by accident. Many years ago, I was telling pastors, men of God, prophets, all of them, that you need to get an online platform. I was studying online platform many years ago, before this thing about online came out. I've got document of research of online that I've been studying. What happens online? Before this online thing came about, where I said the church was not going to survive if it only exists in buildings. And many pastors asking me what is going on. I was telling them, go and create an online platform. Go and study. Study, not just go and do an online video. No, study how to run an online ministry. Because if your ministry only exists in the building, it's not going to exist for long. And now people are seeing the fruits. Now some churches are battling, they're struggling. You see churches are now running up and down, trying to create YouTube channel. They try to go online. They don't know how to do it. They're so confused. Pastors and prophets have been so confused. One man wrote and he said, man of God, if I go online, how am I going to get offering? How am I going to collect offering? You can see how confused the church has become. Let me tell you something. The world is going digital. And this, I think, nothing is happening by accident. The things that are happening now, everything has been planned by God. Everything. And even for this to happen abruptly during Easter or the Passover, the Jews call it the Pesach, Easter or Passover, is a sign. Let me tell you what happened during Easter. Easter is the only ceremony, one of the very few ceremonies, the only ceremony that is not done inside the church. I want to repeat again. Easter is one of the few holidays that is not celebrated in the church. The mistake we have made is that we took Easter, we took it to the church. Easter is not supposed to belong in the church. Easter belongs at home. The Bible says, during the night before Jesus was about to be crucified, he asked the disciples, he says, go and get bread, go and get some wine, come and let's sit inside the house and celebrate the Passover. The celebration of the Passover happened inside the house. That's why the Passover is one of the few. The other ones happened in the church, but the Passover happened in the house. Jesus celebrated the Passover in the house. So your house is the most important place as a believer in Christ. Your house, your home. When I preach my messages, I always tell my people, my sons and my daughters, all of them, I say, well, after this message, you are going to be a better son at home. You are going to be a better husband at home. You are going to be a better wife at home. You are going to get better. And they tell me, how is it that every time you always say we're going to be better at home? I say, you're going to be better, a better brother, a better sister, and all my sons are better. Why? Because the messages are designed to make you better. But where are they supposed to make you better? Not inside the building. You know, some people go inside the building and they are holy, they're very spiritual in the building. But outside the building, when they get at home, they turn into a monster. They turn into something else. But in the building, they look holy. No. Instead, it's opposite. You're supposed to be. Your holy, your character, your holiness is supposed to manifest in your house. You're supposed to be a better husband. Take care of your house. Take care of your children. I know many people that go to church in a building. They attend a building on Sunday. Every Sunday, see them in the building, dressed nicely. But their children don't have school fees. They go at home, they refuse to even get food for their family to eat. They refuse to even stay home as husbands and wife. But in the church, there are elders in the church. They call them elders. They call them this, brother this. They call them elder this. They sit in high places in the building. And God is about to turn all of that upside down. God is about to change all of that upside down. There's a new dawn. We are living this, the beginning of something new that's going to happen in the church. It's going to hit the church. I'm telling you, any ministry or any church that doesn't have an online footprint, if you don't have an online footprint, let me tell you, you're like a dinosaur. Dinosaurs died because they could not evolve. That's why the dinosaurs were wiped off. Any building that doesn't have an online footprint is like a dinosaur. They are being set up to fail. Go and check in Europe. Check in Europe. The buildings that were built there in those days, those religious buildings. But the Roman Catholics, check those buildings, what is happening to those buildings. They don't know what to do with those buildings now because nobody's going there. The church must survive. If the church has to survive before Jesus Christ comes, it's going to expand. The Bible says the last days the word of God is going to be expand. But let me tell you something. It's going to be propagated online ministry. I focus on online ministry. The Lord gave me, let me tell you, as a prophet of God, I'm told you I'm a prophet, modern day prophet. The Lord showed me this thing back in the year about 2009. The videos that I did for 2009, around 2009, 2008, the videos that I did. If you go to the internet, you see some of those videos that I did. Some of you will not even believe that those videos were done in 2009. When I was focused on, the Lord gave me that vision that you need to get online. You need to go online and do online, focus on online ministry. While you grow this little garden, and if you are growing it, the focus is not on the building. The building is not the focus. The focus is the people and the family. If you want to know what a real church building looks like, look at your family, look at your house, then and look at your children, look at your brothers and your sisters, look at your mother, look at your father. That's what the church building looks like. How that building is actually a reflection of how God wants your life to be. Nurture that building. Your first building is your house. As a child of God, your first building is your house. It's your home that you stay in. That's your first building. It should reflect God. If that cannot reflect God, nothing else works. Nothing else works. You have been hoodwinked to believe that a building is a sign of Christianity. And I see all people there, some of the men of God, let me tell you why they commit suicide. Some men of God commit suicide because they're going to take a loan to the bank to go and build a massive structure. I was watching Joel Osteen. He was sitting empty like an empty arena, like a stadium that's all empty. TD Jakes has closed down his church, and you know how much money he took to build that church. The loan he took to build that church, to build that building. They've closed the building. What is happening? The world is changing right in front of our eyes. The world is changing right in front of our eyes. The world is changing. That's the first reason. God is doing something. God is moving. He's shaping his church. He's shaping his church. And this is the first reason. The second reason why you are hearing some of these things that are happening. Why is the church closing? Why is ZCC that have closed? They said, I don't allow anybody. Even when they told them that they should open their church. This Professor Bushiri has closed his church. TD Jakes has shut down his ministry. Churches in America, some of the churches are open and shutting down their ministry. What is happening? Let me tell you what's happening. Look at the prophets. You see this cleaning of the church. In order to open the church, there are requirements that are given. They tell you this is a requirement. You must do this, you must do this, you must clean, you must sanitize, you must do social distancing, or you must do physical distancing, and then you must. The things are telling you to do. The requirement to open a church is very expensive. It's very expensive. That's why most people are realizing. For you to fulfill those requirements, according to the regulation, especially in South Africa, that's why Shepherd Prophet Bushiri's church could not open. Because for you to open that church, you need to put security cleaners, you need to buy gallons and gallons of sanitizers. You need to clean the chairs and the desk. You need to, the amount of money that you need to spend just to get it ready for people to come inside and sit down and make sure everyone wears mask. And those that don't have mask, you must offer to give the mask, because if you don't give the mask, you're violating the requirement. And the moment you violate the law, you'll be arrested as a man of God. So it is more risky to open the church now, the building now, than to stay at home. So that's why I say some of the churches have now said, like, There's ZTC and all those churches that are saying, no, we cannot open, we're going to close down till all of this thing is over. But I was talking about this, a prophecy I gave about the church, and I gave that prophecy many months ago. I talked about seeing Prophet Bushiri church closing, see some church closing, Macanina, all the churches that are closing down. I said, I see those things. They say plan to close this church. They've limited the size of the church to only to 50 people. What does that tell you? That tells you they don't want mega churches. Mega churches are a threat to the politicians. Mega churches are a threat to politicians. Politicians are scared of people gathering together. When they see people gather together, they want to be able to influence their decision. And if they cannot influence the decision of other people, they want to destroy it. And the elections are coming very soon. And those elections are making politicians to sleep at night. That's why they will make laws, and they will make as if it's a law. The law is because of the COVID-19 disaster or pandemic. It's not the law because of pandemic. It's a law to make sure that churches don't gather. But churches need to be wise. That's why online churches now, I see some of the ministers that are going online now. These online churches need to focus on those online spaces and take that space. And take that space, that online space. You need to focus on that and you capture that space. If you leave it open, the enemy is going to come in there and contaminate that space, but you need to take it back, that space, and capture it. And provide online platforms for people to be watching. Provide online platforms. And now we are seeing that for the very first time, we are seeing a situation where the church is being shaken. Ministers all over the world, they don't know what to do. Ministers all over the world, I think the Bible already said it. The Bible says, your bodies are the temple of the Holy Ghost. Our bodies were temples. What we have as body, our human bodies are temples. It's time we start focusing on this body, how to make this body a better temple of the Holy Spirit. How to make our body a better temple. The Bible says Jesus is the head of the church and we are his body. So the whole church that gathers together is the body. We form the body of Christ. It's a high revelation. No other religion can survive without walls, without a building. If you look at other religions, they cannot survive. If you take out buildings, those religions will finish. It's only Christianity, because it's a relationship. It's not a religion. It's a relationship in Christianity. That's why if you take out buildings, most other religions, they will not survive. They need a building. But Christianity is a relationship. That's powerful. And this was like given more than 2,000 years ago when Jesus came and established Christianity and said, this is a relationship. Pesach, I told you about Pesach. I said the Passover it's not celebrated in the church. The mistake we have made is that we have taken the communion service and we've taken it to the church. And it's now become like communion service is not supposed to be inside the church. Pesach or Passover is celebrated with family. Communion is supposed to be celebrated with family, and it's celebrated with your neighbors. So when you celebrate, you invite everyone in and you put your family in. That's Pesach. That's what the communion service is, the Passover. When Jesus celebrated the Passover, Jesus did not go to the synagogue. If you go and read your Bible, you'll find out there's no way that Jesus went to the synagogue to go and celebrate Passover. He did not go to the synagogue to go and break bread in the synagogue or to offer wine in the synagogue. He wasn't in the church, in a building. He did not go to a building. He sat inside his house. He sat inside his house, invited people to come with his disciples. So when you watch the image of the Lord's Supper, you watch that Passover, you watch that Lord's Supper, he was celebrating that thing. The Pesach was done inside his house, was done in the church. But now the mistake we have made, we've taken that celebration, we've taken it inside the church, and we've made it to look as if that celebration is actually something that came from the church. It's like something that must be done in the church. And the building has now become almost like a prominent thing. It's become so prominent in Christianity. It's become so prominent that God is angry at how we adore buildings more than him. We think we've taken buildings to replace God. The church building is not God. The real church is the people. It's you and I, the body. And it's almost like if you don't go to church building, it's like you are not the holy. It's like holiness, and every church, everything that happens in terms of Christianity, a holy person is the only one that goes to a building. And that's the number one mistake we've made. And it's time for us to change and seek the right path. The mistake we've made is that we have considered those ones that don't have a building as if they're not Christians. Those ones that don't go to a particular building, that's why people ask others, where is your church? They want you to point to a building. You say, yes, my building there. I'm going to tell you that building there. The church is personal. It's inside of you. It's inside. And that's why God is allowing this to happen. I told you, nothing in the world happens by accident. Everything that I see in this world doesn't happen. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is orchestrated, is planned for a particular purpose. And during this COVID-19 pandemic, we are seeing those things that are happening now. Everything that is happening for a specific purpose. And God is orchestrating certain things to happen. There's a verse in the Bible that says, all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. So you're going to see now most churches are going to change. Most churches that were reluctant to go online they're now going to go online. Most churches that are reluctant to preach, they're now going to start preaching online. And the challenge is now we need to learn a new thing. The church must innovate. Prophets must innovate. Let me tell you, I tell my sons every day, I teach them every day. Prophets must innovate. As a son, those who want to be in the prophetic must innovate. How do you take the experience of the church and bring it online? You need to be able to master that. It's another layer. It's another prophetic level. How to take that experience that you have in the church. That's why you see most of the churches, when they come online, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. It's fascinating to watch how churches come online, but it seems as if there's no spirit. The spirit is God. Made my ministry. Some of you come to this ministry, you watch my video, you feel the spirit of God. The same experience that happened inside the building. Inside that building, you can bring that experience online. How do you do that? You need to do it. It's a different world. There's a world in the buildings, in brick and mortar. Those are what we're used to. But we need to get to brick and mortar, have music, dance, celebration, brick and mortar. All those is a brick and mortar world. Online is a totally different world. It's a totally different game. Online is not about this. If you take the same thing that happens in the building to bring it online, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You need to create the experience without doing the same thing, meaning that you need to get people to feel the presence of God online without doing the things that we're doing in the building. It's a mystery. And online, the game is different. There's almost pastor, prophet, they go online, they struggle online. Online, people want to see the power of God. This way is going to separate the real prophets from the ones that are not real prophets. People want to come online and see the power of God. When they come online, they want to see the power of God. They don't want to hear the noise, all the music. You go to the buildings, you see a lot of music, flashlight, noise, all these things. It was just distraction. Now they want to see the raw power of God online. When they come online, they want to see the raw power. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. When they come online, they want to see the raw power of God. And you need to be able, as a prophet of God and a man of God, show that raw power. If God has really called you, show that power, demonstrate that raw power. They want to see it online, the power. That power of God. They want to see not what you are saying, not what you say every day. They want to see that power. That's why when I come online, you go to my videos, my live prophecy. I prophesy live. I prophesy. I prophesy like that. I prophesy to nations. I'm talking this prophesy to things like you see, like these things happen in America. If you read the United States now, if you read, I was talking about the United States. As I see people during that United States, there will be something like people going and killing each other. It's a prophecy I gave about the United States. I said before the election, there will be a prophet, like a racist kind of fighting where people racists will start shooting, they'll fight each other. You see what is happening in the United States now. There will be some group of people who are going to have like racist tendencies, racist behavior. They want to go and now say, we this race we must protect. They will start fighting so that race. There will be problem. Shootings. Problem, shootings. Chaos everywhere in the United States. I'm telling you. Something like we've never seen before. I'm telling you. The United States is never going to be the same again. The shooting of this black person that was killed, where the police pressed and squeezed his neck, put the knee on his throat, suffocated him to death. Let me tell you something. I saw it in the prophetic. I already gave it, and I said I saw that thing's going to bring a fighting. I prophesied about it. I said before the US election. And you're going to see the things like the National Guard are going to be sent, military are going to be sent on the streets in this place called Minnesota. It's going to spread from Minnesota. It's going to, when they see going to other states will begin to fight also and like strike. I don't know what it is, but they're going to like come together and begin to fight the police because of what is happening in Minnesota. And they're going to say they're doing it because of the people in Minnesota. You're going to be see what is happening between blacks, between whites, people fighting each other. I prophesied is there, and I said people are going to be shooting. People are going to be so scared. I remember the United States, everybody has a gun in the house. Everybody sleeps in the night with a gun. You get up in the morning with a gun. They hear any knock on their door. Also that panic or the fear, they start shooting. It's terrible. You hear people will be shooting. You hear like somebody will just go into a crowd and shoot people. You need to pray. That's what the prophecy I gave. That will come into pass. I'm giving. I told the United States economy is going to peak. It's going to peak. But I see some job losses are going to still start happening. Like the month of June or so, or May. If it's not June, May, June, job losses is going to go up. But there's a time it's going to come down just before November, July, August, September, October, November. That last 3 months, there's going to be like job losses is going to go down. Unemployment is going to reduce. Companies are going to multiply. Things are going to happen. I'm telling you, things are going to be happening. Prophecies are going to happen. And I said in 2021, 2022, Donald Trump was going to do something. He's going to take out a file. I told it's a file for Africa. He's got the names of all those African countries with dictators there. It's a file. Check my prophecy on China. I wrote a book called Prophecy, Dreams and Vision. I said that the world is going to, the world is going to reject China. There's going to be a trade war. Now you see what is happening in China. In my book, I wrote that book in 2018. And I was writing about 2020 that they're going to turn their back on China. Sanction China, trade will be cancelled, things trade with China. And the time I wrote that book, nobody understood what I was talking about. Prophecy, Dreams and Vision. It's inside that book. What is happening with China today? Now the United States, the president is just going to impose further sanction on China, remove himself from the World Health Organization because of China. It's because of China that the president left WHO. Because of China. I prophesy about China. It's in my book. There's a whole page just for China, talking about China. I talk about the United States, I talk about the UK, how UK is going to also run away from China. But the time I prophesied, I think Chinese people were signing a deal with the UK for 5G in the UK for 5G. And I was saying that deal is going to be cancelled. I said the UK people are going to say we don't want that deal with China or 5G. When I was writing that prophecy, I was telling the world that that deal that you see on 5G, where China wants to install 5G in the UK, I said that deal is going to be cancelled. Now the UK have now said they don't want to hear anything with China. They don't want any relationship, no 5G, no contract. China must go away with the 5G. They don't want to hear about it. The European Union is writing now a law banning some Chinese products in Europe, and they're shifting that production to India. India is going to prosper. I was talking about India, and some prophets are going to rise in India. India is going to be a big hub of production. India must prepare themselves because technologically everything, and Indians are they're very intelligent people. Indians are also God-loving people. In India, that India that you see, I need to go to India. Go to India. They love God. God is going to answer India, the prayer of India for many years. God is going to answer India. They're going to shift production. The United States is going to shift production like that. You just gradually from China is going to India. Europeans are going to shift their demand from China is going to India. And what is going to happen? China is going to start threatening India with something like fighting. Like they will start to make a friction with India to threaten India. You see that I'm doing that. You're going to see China. You get that Chinese people want to fight the India people. And now Chinese people also now you see what I've done in Hong Kong. They want to take over Hong Kong. Hong Kong. They will destroy that country completely. China is trying to divide Australia. They're trying to break Australia into two, like what they do in all those Yugoslavia and those countries. How to break it up? They want to break Australia up. And most people in leaders in Africa have been quiet about China. China, which has killed Africans in China. And nobody wants to talk about China. They've been killing Africans in China, allowing them to die in the cold on the street. No medical help, nothing. And they come to Africa, they bribe the African leaders. I told you there's a file about African leaders on Donald Trump's locker. Those countries that have been paid for and bought by China. China is about to take over Zambia. They've taken airports of other countries and seaports of other countries. China is putting its police and sending army in some African countries to tell them that they want to help them to fight fight terrorists and so forth. But the Chinese police people are in that country. Can you imagine a policeman of another country going to another country to become a police there? China is doing that in Africa. Donald Trump is watching very closely what is happening in Africa. Donald Trump is watching. I told him, I'm out with the eye of the scorpion. He's watching very closely. Those African leaders have been bought and paid for by China, that are good every day for medical support. They're giving them this. They don't know what is happening, what is coming after them. Europe, the USA, the UK, they've now decided China in Africa is a threat to everything. Because the moment they come to Africa, Chinese people are going to take the resources of Africa, the food of Africa, the resources, the diamonds, the gold, the whatever. They're going to make sure they stifle Africa. They're going to bring their police, their military, they stifle Africa, that Africa will not grow. And all those things are going to China. That they are playing a game, a very dangerous game. I'm telling you, I think there will be a second revolution in Africa. When you hear about the time of the independence, there was a time in Africa where there was a wave called the independence, wave for independence, where the countries they said, no, one our freedom. There's another wave coming where the countries are going to now say, we want China to leave our country. We are tired of China. The China, what they're doing, killing blacks, beating up our blacks in their country. And the African leaders cannot talk about it. They're very quiet because they've taken money from the Chinese. Those leaders, they're going to be exposed. All those corruption, those things they're going to see, those corruption that have gotten, the money they have made from the Chinese, taking the money, put the money in banks everywhere, gotten loans from China, big companies partner with China. China is coming to the country, they've signed tenders for big companies with China. They're going to be exposed. Those persons are going to be removed. I'm talking about the whole of Africa. There's going to be change coming, where young Africans are going to rise and going to say, we're tired of what is happening. Why are the African leaders not talking against China? Why are the African leaders not talking? Because they have eaten money. I prophesy about China, this thing is going to happen. You're going to see. I'm telling you, these are the last days. Things are happening. These are the last days. Things are happening. I'm talking about the prophetic, right? The prophetic is going over the world. Things happen. I'm seeing the prophetic. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? It started in the US. The US president has seen China very clearly, exposed them for who they really are. How they have captured the WHO. They have taken over, captured over Facebook. They've taken over YouTube. They've taken Twitter. So the United States president now, he's now finding out what is happening with Twitter. It started in YouTube. What is happening with YouTube? Where the Chinese people went and said, anywhere you write COVID-19 started in China, they delete your video. They don't want to hear about it. Started there. And now they're seeing what is happening. It's going to go Let me tell you, Europe, the UK, those places, the Middle East, they're going to now start, China, they must stay where they are. They've become a serious threat. They've taken over in Hong Kong. Hong Kong have become a serious threat to society. I'm talking about the prophetic. The church is moving on. Jesus Christ is coming very soon. The church is moving on. Jesus is coming. Those of you don't want to write to me at prophetpastor@gmail.com. Those of you don't want to WhatsApp me, you WhatsApp me. I have my phone here. I'll reply to you. You WhatsApp me. You write to me at prophetpastor@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp me. It's powerful. Many messages you write to me. I get these messages. I get your messages. I'm one of the most engaging men of God. The most engaging men of God. Yes. It's engaging. I see messages there from Sarah. From Sarah, I see one from Christopher. I see for Chizuba. I see you, Chizuba. You see lots of them. Yes. Michelle, this is one of my sons and daughters. Are thousands. I've got more than 10,000 different emails coming from all over. Hundreds of thousands of sons and daughters all over the world. Facebook, Twitter. They're writing to me. Some writing by email, directly by email. I have people, sons in Pakistan, in India, in China, Bahrain, Yugoslavia, Germany, France, Canada, United States, Brazil, Spain. I'm speaking to you now. Some of you are going to get this message. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. Yes. See next side. Emmanuel, I see him. Emmanuel, and he said, I see you, and he said, Elizabeth, I see you, Elizabeth. I greet you. Jeremiah, I greet you. Sow your 2020 seed. Begin to sow your 2020 seed. Those of you that sow your thanks for 2020 seed, Tafadzo, thanks for 2020 seed. I see Butulezwe. Yes, those are my sons. Vincent, my sons in the US, I've sown a 2020 seed. Mabel, I've sown a 2020 seed. Magnus, I've sown a 2020 seed. Ephesians, those are my sons. Ephesians, sow a 2020 seed. Shamfred, that's my son in India. Ephesians. Joachim, yes. Mabel, and I told those of you that want to break soul ties, come write to me. I break soul ties. Show you how to break soul ties. Soul ties are killing people outside. Soul ties are some of the things that most of you don't know. It's a silent killer. It destroys people's life. Some people have been entangled with souls from other lives, other relationships, that those souls have come and it's now destroying their current relationship. I show you how to break soul ties. I want to break soul ties. I see Nani, one of my daughters in Johannesburg. God bless you, Nani. One of my daughters in Johannesburg. God bless you, Nani. I see Kasuja. Yes. Rona, one of my daughters. Professor Rona. Professor online. Check my prophecy online. The eye of the scorpion prophecy. I'm one of the few prophets. If not one of the only prophets, the eye of the scorpion. It's the eye that sees the invisible. Meaning where people cannot see, I see it. Where things have been hidden, where people cannot see. The eye of the scorpion. It's a special anointing also. It's a special anointing. When I give this anointed beast to you, that anointing is activated. You begin to see what men cannot see. You begin to see even things that are invisible to the other prophets. You begin to see them. The eye of the scorpion, prophetic eye. It's a special prophetic eye. It's a special prophetic eye. Komotso, when my daughter prophesied, call the name, call where they stay, call your house. I prophesy, give a